One of the ways that students can assess their own learning is with this simple rubric made on Google Spreadsheet. When my students were just about to make their first screencast, we made this rubric together. And as the students decided what would make a good YouTuber or a good screencaster, I typed in their ideas into each of these fields. And when this was complete, then I printed out a class set there that day and walked around, handed them out to each student as they were creating their screencasts. Then they're able to refer to the rubric as they're working. At the end of the period, I asked them to think about where they were in that moment as a screencaster or a YouTuber. So for example, if they were talking in an animated voice on their screencast, they were able to fill in their rubric all the way up to satisfactory. Maybe they hadn't mastered it, but they were satisfactory. They just go up to the paint can and fill in a color. When they're done for the day, it might look something like this, with each of these skills labeled with yellow with a paint can as to where they were in that moment. Then on the second day, as we're working on our screencast, they have their rubric laid out in front of them. They see where they are and where they need to work. And at the end of the period, they'll assess their own learning. For example, let's say they're getting better at talking in animated voice. In fact, they've mastered it. They can teach that skill. So they're going to fill this next bar in with a different color. Let's say they realized after making their screencast, on the first day, they weren't really an expert. They got better at that the second day. Then they can fill that in and move to the right with that. At the end of the second day, they can see where they've grown in each category and where they need to work tomorrow. And at the end of the third day, it might look something like this. So some of these, they've moved all the way to the right, and some areas they still need work. All right, let's take a look at this blank rubric. Let's say, for example, you teach PE and you want your students to get better at the mile run. So as a class, they can come up with what ideas they've learned about what makes a good mile runner. So for example, let's say that they think that they need to do a good warm-up, practice regularly, use their arms, stretch, concentrate on their third lap, stay hydrated, and eat healthy food. You can print this out for them to fill out or post it on Google Classroom. Then, as they are working on their mile run each week, they can fill in their chart based on their own learning and how much growth they've had. Here's a completely blank self-assessment rubric that I'm going to post on Google Classroom for you. If you would like to make a copy, you can put your own project title in here. Your students can come up with their own rubric items, and then they can assess their own learning.